All right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome. If you're in the States, good evening, good afternoon. If you're in Taiwan, good morning. This is Tiffany from E3 and also from the Communications Industry Development Project Office delegated by the Industrial Development Bureau under MOEA. It is our utmost pleasure today to welcome you all to joining us at the Taiwan USA 5G Ecosystem Partnership Business Forum. So as you know, as one of the world's most prominent and important ICT manufacturing hubs, Taiwan is a regional high-tech supply chain center. Given the recent changes in the global economy and the global marketplace, we believe this is a great opportunity for firms, for instance, in Taiwan and also in the US, to foster and strengthen partnerships. And that is, of course, for more business opportunities. And this is why we've gathered all of you here today to hear from the insights from both sides, and hopefully we can find some synergy. Now, if we can move to the next slide, I would like to give everyone a very quick overview in case you haven't had a chance to see that. So for today's program, we have invited several important speakers. First and foremost, we're going to be hearing from Director General Liu from IDB, who is the main sponsor and the biggest supporter of the series of events that we're doing to engage with our US partners. So we also have April McClain-Delaney, the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Commerce for Communication and Information, who is highly relevant to our topic today of the NTIA based in Washington, D.C. under the Department of Commerce of the United States. So Delaney will also be giving us some of her thoughts later on in the program. And then after that, you'll be hearing from the Taiwan side on how Taiwan can actually contribute to strengthening the telecommunications ecosystem's supplier diversity. And then moving into two very exciting panels. If we could go to the next slide to just give everyone a quick overview of panel one, in which we'll be focusing on the Open RAN ecosystem specifically. So we have Cleat from the Open RAN Policy Coalition to moderate, and also 5 excellent solution providers from both Taiwan and the US to converse. And then after that panel, moving on to the second panel, the next slide, we'll be shifting our focus to broadband infrastructure. And it will be moderated by Howard from our office. It is our great pleasure to have Doug McCollough from Dublin, City of Dublin, Ohio, as a CIO to share with us his firsthand, well, as a user, his firsthand experience of working with different partners, and of course, our solution providers from the Taiwan side. And now, without further ado, we're going to move right into it. So for starter, we're going to hear from Director General Zhenghua Liu, Li Zhenghua Juzhang of the Industrial Development Bureau, Ministry of Economic Affairs. So Director Liu is on standby right now. Let's just make sure his microphone is on. Please make sure his microphone is on before we turn the stage over to Director General Liu. Okay. Now, Director General Liu, whenever you are ready, you may have the floor.
Deputy Assistant Secretary April McClain-Delaney of Commerce for Communications and Information, NTIA, and the Council Craig Johnson of Open RAN Policy Coalition. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. On behalf of Industrial Development Bureau, MOEA of Taiwan, I welcome you all to the 2022 Taiwan USA 5G Ecosystem Partnership Business Forum. As we all know, a nation's economy prosperity relies heavily on its ICT infrastructure and industry development. Taiwan is well known for its robust ICT supply chain, with suppliers ranging from semiconductor, customer premise equipment, small sales, and transport equipment. We also pride ourselves as a one-stop shop for international buyers. In particular, Taiwan's 5G equipment supply chain is not only comprehensive, but also offers great flexibility in manufacturing to accommodate the different needs of customers. Such characteristics also demonstrate that Taiwan can be an excellent partner to our U.S. allies in strengthening diversity in supply chain and providing credible and cost-effective broadband solutions. In recent years, MOE of Taiwan has devoted many efforts in assisting our industry advance in 5G development. Our open networking lab was also recognized as the first TIP community lab in Asia Pacific to focus on end-to-end testing in order to support qualified 5G products to the global market. This way, Taiwan can continue serving the crucial role to our global partners as we actively facilitate our companies to engage with overseas partners. We also see how multifaceted partnership between U.S. and the Taiwan firms can lead to many more business opportunities. In addition to the market-ready products and solutions, each partner can also contribute resources and access to supply chain, marketing, and customers. With more synergy, 1 + 1 can equal to more than 2, creating a win-win situation for all. It has been well established that the United States is an important strategic partner to Taiwan. Through today's forum, I hope it opens the door for dialogue to discuss partnership opportunities with each other, whether it is in 5G open range solutions or broadband infrastructure. I firmly believe we can combine and share our resources to achieve greater outcome for mutual prosperity. To continue our efforts in bridging Taiwan's ecosystem with overseas partners, this October, IDB will also lead Taiwan's top-notch ICT solution providers, such as HTC, QCT, UV Space, Lions Technology, MTI, Lion, H-Core, SK, Compare, and more to Washington, D.C. for the 5G Open Range Showcase at Taiwan Expo in USA. I sincerely welcome you all to visit the Expo and our forums for more discussion. In today's forum, it is our utmost pleasure to welcome Deputy Assistant Secretary Technology of NTIA to share with us the U.S. policy approach to telecoms suppliers diversity and international partnership. Also, for Council Craig Johnson for Open RAN Policy Coalition to serve as our moderator in the panel. In addition, we will be hearing from excellent Taiwan firms, including HTC, FII, Alpha Networks, Tailyn Technology, Gemtek, and D-Link, as well as U.S. firms such as RingCentral, Coherent, Logix, and other representatives from the U.S. industry for their insights and takeaways in strengthening U.S.-Taiwan partnership. With that, I wish you all a fruitful forum. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director General Liu, for spending the time with us to give us some of your open remarks. And now with that, we're going to move down to our keynote speaker of the day, which is Deputy Assistant Secretary April McClain-Delaney from NTIA to share a few words with us. So let's ensure Delaney has her microphone on. And Delaney, you may have the floor.
So thank you for organizing this and for bringing us all together in this very fruitful dialogue. And thank you to Director General Liu. And let me also say thank you to E-Tree for organizing today's forum and for inviting me to speak in my capacity as the Deputy Assistant Secretary at the Department of Commerce for Communications and Information, and as the Deputy Administrator at the National Telecommunications Information Administration. And I really liked what Director General Liu said about, 1 + 1 can make more than 2, because I think that this is just a very fruitful dialogue for us all to come together to really lift up, innovation and partner. So for anyone not familiar with us, NTIA is the executive branch agency principally responsible by law for advising our president, President Biden, on telecommunications and information policy issues. And so really among some of these key events key themes for this event, such as the opportunities presented by 5G, the importance of telecom supplier diversity, and the need for international cooperation to achieve really secured networks and resilience priorities. As many of you well know, 5G will likely revolutionize a variety of sectors if it has not already. And consumers and businesses alike will benefit from 5G-enabled capacities, and the economic potential is staggering. NTIA is actually under the umbrella of the Department of Commerce, which is, does do a lot of interface with businesses. And in the United States alone, 5G is predicted to add up to 3 million new jobs and to create $5 billion in growth. So it's something that is quite revolutionary. And we hope that individuals and companies around the world will take full advantage of the opportunities resulting from 5G and then eventually 6G. And we really think this has to be accomplished without sacrificing personal privacy, very important principle to our administration, or compromising economic and national security. So to put it another way, the United States views 5G security as a top priority. And so we've joined with international counterparts in taking steps to restrict the use of untrusted, high-risk suppliers. We are also deeply committed to cooperating on 5G with partners like Taiwan, another global leader on this issue, and one of the reasons why this forum is so important. And I can really think of no more fruitful focus of the Taiwan-U.S. technology cooperation than the topic we're discussing about supplying and strengthening supplier diversity in our telecommunications ecosystem. But before really describing the cooperation, the vital role of industry in achieving it, let me first highlight the United States' overall policy approach to 5G supplier diversity. Our government recognizes that many network operators face limited options when selecting suppliers to develop and deploy 5G and earlier generation wireless networks, and that this limited competition in telecommunications infrastructure can reduce our supply chain resilience, which is not good for a multitude of reasons, and unfortunately contribute to higher prices for both the operators and in the long run, consumers. When determining which actions to take in response, our guiding values within our administration are really competition, choice, tech neutrality, security, resilience, and a preference for market-led approaches. And I think most importantly, industry-driven innovation. So one opportunity in line with these values is the deployment of open interoperable networks, including open radio access networks, Open RAN. Open RAN approaches are really enabling operators to disaggregate network elements through open interfaces. They are, like we think of them as unlocking opportunities for a wide variety of hardware and software suppliers and advancing shared security and resilience priorities. This approach can allow for more flexibility and innovation across networks. It can drive down costs in ways that benefit the end user, and it helps shift towards more in an iterative, affordable network upgrade practice. So the U.S. government fully supports global industry's efforts on Open RAN, And NTIA and many of our interagency colleagues are working to foster enabling environments for their success. The US government, therefore, supports the global industry efforts on Open RAN. And for example, we're also trying to invest in numerous government labs that are supporting research and development, R&D. I'm pleased to report that NTIA operates an Institute for Telecommunications Sciences, or as we term it, ITS. It's located in Boulder, Colorado, and it's our kind of in-the-field testing Open RAN specific lab. In April, ITS launched the 5G Challenge in collaboration with the Department of Defense. The prize competition aims to accelerate the adoption of Open RAN, open interfaces, interoperable components, and multi-vendor solutions towards the development of an open ecosystem. In the first year of this 2-year program, ITS will award a total purse prize of up to $3 million to contestants who submit hardware and/or software solutions. We think only through R&D and investment can you really make the way forward. In addition, our Congress recently passed a public wireless supply chain innovation fund. When appropriated, this would enable NTIA to provide grant funding to support innovative new technologies and market entrants, and to accelerate the transition to open interoperable networks. While these are meaningful steps, domestic activity alone will not be insufficient to bring about the diverse telecom ecosystem that we all want and that is really vital to modern security and resilience. So we're looking at international cooperation on open networks and forums like this that will be key to ensuring that developments like Open RAN can reach their full potential. But quite simply, we can't do it alone. 5G infrastructure markets, supply chains, and the factors that have driven their consolidation are global. So we too must be looking prospectively as we hope to drive sustainable progress. That is why NTIA is partnering with our partners like Taiwan on policy options to advance the development and deployment of open interoperable 5G networks and the supply chains on which they are depending. It's why the US government welcomes the emergence of trusted market entrants and telecommunications innovators from places like Taiwan, as well as commercial linkages already forming between them and the US counterparts. And it's why I have greatly looked forward to participating in this particular event, which rightly puts these relationships front and center. My staff is also here, and I think Brian is on the phone. And after carefully reviewing what we will share during the industry panels, we plan to pursue deeper engagement with Taiwan on Open RAN and on 5G supplier diversity. We also commend Taiwan's various existing plans, programs, and initiatives that are focused on these priorities. And we are eager to advance our own Open RAN related information sharing, our commercial relationships, and other forms of exchange. This all comes as a part of our NTIA's broader commitment to outreach and partnership among like-minded global policymakers on 5G diversification. In the same spirit that late last year, the United States joined others in endorsing the Prague proposals on telecommunications supplier diversity, released at the Prague 5G Security Conference. These proposals are the clearest global affirmation to date on the role of policymakers in advancing telecommunications supplier diversity and the open and interoperable approaches that can facilitate it. They highlighted a diverse and competitive marketplace of suppliers and that they are essential to a successful transition to 5G, 6G, and beyond. They also outlined priorities that expect all like-minded policymakers that could either support or are already pursuing, such as supply chain resiliency, market-based competition, and public-private dialogue. So as we transition collectively to this next generation of telecoms, it is a pivotal moment for policymakers to work with one another and with industry in addressing the risks posed by limited supplier diversity. The Prague proposals on telecommunications diversity represent a commitment just to do that. I would really encourage all public and private sector attendees today to review these proposals, which are free and viewable online, and to reach out to my team with any questions. So far, I've emphasized NTIA's commitment to 5G supplier diversity and to global outreach. But another top priority of our Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimondo, our Assistant Secretary, Alan Davidson, and myself. It's really about stakeholder engagement. And that's why I'm truly enthusiastic about the industry panels that are about to start soon. Events like today give the private sector the opportunity to weigh in directly. And I think that's really important because that helps drive innovation. Let me assure you that NTIA is listening. Our door is open because we know your feedback is a critical input to sound policy making. After all, no one understands your day-to-day decision-making, your priorities, and your challenges that you face better than you do. And so you really have to articulate them so that we understand them as well. And that's especially true when it comes to Open RAN, since it is industry driving progress towards goals like brownfield integration and additional commercial scale deployments and larger ecosystems of trusted suppliers. So I just have to say, I'm pleased to see such robust private sector participation today. I hear there's more than 100 people online, and I just look forward to hearing your insights. And so I guess I would say in conclusion, our administration, our NTIA, we just want to say that global policymakers must deepen our cooperation in support of industry-led progress and commercial partnerships on Open RAN. And we must do so expeditiously, given the timing of telecommunications investment cycles. NTIA is committed to this priority, which we will always advance jointly with partners like Taiwan and in close consultation with the stakeholders like you. So I just would say thank you for organizing this dialogue. Thank you for your time and attention today, and as well as for your support as we move ahead together. And with that, I yield the floor, and I'm so excited to listen to the rest of today and tonight. Many thanks.
Thank you so much, Delaney. It is our utmost pleasure to again have you grace the floor today to share your insights and your point of views with the Taiwanese audience. So now, after hearing from the government officials of both sides, we would like to bring our audience into a tad deeper to how Taiwan can actually contribute to strengthening the telecommunication ecosystem. So right now, please allow me to introduce to you Ms. Maggie Chao, the Deputy Director of Communications Industry Development Project Office, delegated by IDB MOEA, for a very brief presentation to set the tone for the rest of the forum. So now, Maggie, when you're ready, let's pull your slides to full screen and you may have the floor.
Thank you. That's Delaney, Director Lu. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and good morning. I'm Maggie Chao from Communication Industry Development Project Office, delegated by IDB MOEA. And thank you all for joining the forum today. And I'm going to share with you how can Taiwan contribute to the strengthening the telecommunication economy. So Taiwan is known for the major procurement center for the global ICT companies and buyers. And we are also the worldwide #1 for the major ICT product market share. So next, please. So we have a very comprehensive broadband, open networking, and 5G supply chain. So from the CPE, which including the wireless, 4G, 5G to small cell, transport, core, and recently we have more and more system integrators, and we have 3 major operators. So with this excellent capability from our industry, we also have very strong policy support from our government. Next, please. So our President Tsai made a statement at her inauguration address in 2020 that with the foundation of the 7 innovative industries, including the Asia Silicon Valley, green energy, smart machinery, biomedicine, national defense, circular economy, and new agriculture, that we need to step into the next 6 core strategy industry in order to transfer into a critical force in the global economy. So for example, the information and digital industry is our focus today. So next, please. Another focus from our government is that we need to leverage the ICT capability to drive the smart application. For example, the agriculture, the healthcare, the manufacturing, the transportation, entertainment, or even education. Next, please. So it's a national policy to support ICT development in Taiwan. So let me take Ministry of Economic Affairs, for example, that we have projects for industrial promotion by building the fully functional environment. And we also have projects to enhance the R&D ability. And we have projects to conduct the field trials, and not just from the MOEA. We also have the National Development Council, the Ministry of Culture, and Ministry of Transportation that also support the surface trial by different projects. Next, please. And I think you should all agree with me that it's never easy for the telecom companies to jump into the vertical market service. For example, the domain knowledge, the real needs from the venue owners. So for the past decades, that we put lot of effort to facilitate the environment and find partners in order to support and accelerate the ICT vertical service development. And for example, we conduct the IIoT in energy industry. So we even align with the Gates Association so that we can do a lot of real trials. And TSN is also one of the focus for our industry. And one of our panelist companies today, Tailyn, has devoted to it for a while. And speaking of 5G, manufacturing is one of the major scenarios. And the case here we're showing with you is that we have the AR training and the repairing service running on the 5G private network, supported by the showcase that from the left-hand side you can see. And I trust Raymond from STC will share with us more about it later. So next, please. And as McLean mentioned, that open networking is very important between Taiwan and the US. So our government also put lots of effort on promoting open RAN, open networking. So Ministry of Economic Affairs also built an open network ecosystem with global partners and established a carrier-grade 5G open network lab in 2020. And the lab was approved by TIP as the first TIP integration lab in Asia. So with this cap, what we can offer to our global partners, that we can do the end-to-end testing and demonstrating readiness for the deployment in a commercial environment. And we can also halt the process to validate the product majority and award the Beijing ribbons accordingly. So next, please. So these are the activities from our lab since 2020. And we conduct the testing for Open RAN, DCSG, or we can say the transport, and Open Wi-Fi with many global and Taiwanese partners, such as the Cisco, the Jury, the Polaris, the Net Appearance, H-Core, UFDSpace, FII, Lines, etc. Next, please. Next, please. So also, MOEA have projects to support industry to enhance the R&D ability in chipset, radio baseband, baseband integration, and private networking solutions. So the case here I would like to share with you is the press conference organized by MOEA to celebrate the achievement with all these Taiwanese companies end of last year. So next, please. And I'm also very proud to say that Taiwan is already a test field for the vertical solutions, that we already have over 200 solutions tested throughout Taiwan. And all those solutions are running with Wi-Fi, AIoT, or 4G in order to improve the quality of life and shorten the gap of digital debate. And we have more opportunity and support from the government agency. For example, the Ministry of the Culture and Ministry of Transportation have projects to support the service trial, especially for the service regarding to the transportation and audio, visual media, and entertainment service. And for the National Development Council, they are dedicated for the 5G service supported by the open network solutions. So next, please. And this is another example I want to share with you that our government conduct a larger field in 2021 for multiple service such as the VR concert, My Service, and smart manufacturing in Kaohsiung. But why here? Because if you want to do the 5G video streaming service, that you can work with the Kaohsiung Music Center there. Or you can also work with the Kaohsiung Port Terminal to develop different service for land, and then they can work together to extend those services to other terminals in different cities in Taiwan. So there are a lot of needs and a lot of field there that we can work together. Next, please. So you should understand that to conduct the tech fair and field does not just happen in one day. So for Taiwan, we have a very long journey to learn from a stakeholder to accumulate the experience and to modify the process. So for all those journey and what we have learned from it, we just want to hope that we can support the industry from the technology to service trial and then to the real market with the business model. So next, please. So this is the mechanism that we build. So no matter it's a top-down or the bottom-up approach, our goal is just to make sure that the needs are coming from the user. And we provide or we select the solution that meets the request. So next, please. And with all those mechanisms, and how do we improve and achieve our goals? So we have the measurement system that we can regularly check to ensure the service quality. We provide a consultation service that to have fine-tune the solution. And we also have to communicate with related stakeholders to resolve the problem. And the last is definitely not the least last. For those open RAN and open networking service trial cases, they all have to be validated and tested by our 5G open network lab in order to prove that their solutions majority. Next, please. So this is what Taiwan can offer to our partners in US, that we have a 5G and broadband supply chain, and will accumulate many vertical solutions with real deployment experience. And we also have very good global channels that we partner with global operators, solution vendors. So we have very good feasibility in the North America, APAC, and EMEA. And I think that our partners companies such as D-Link, Gemtek, HTC, Foxconn, they are the best example of with the global channels. Next, please. So let's come to my last slide. I think Taiwan and US can be the best partner, and that we can work together and we can provide the devices, the software, the solutions, the platform, the channels, and resources. That we can be the partner that make 1 + 1 make more than 2, as they just mentioned. And we can do the domestic cooperation first, then we do the global extension next. Next, please. So I look forward to our cooperation between the industry and the project, such as the 5G project, as Delaney just mentioned. And we will have a delegation led by our Minister of MOEA to Washington, D.C. this October. And we will bring a lot of company with the 5G open RAN solutions and the broadband use cases. I look forward to seeing you all there in person. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maggie, for this presentation on how Taiwan can actually contribute. Now, I know we're all looking forward to moving into the panel session. Please allow me to report to all of our panelists that due to a technical difficulty, we will need to slightly adjust the panel order. We'll be moving into the second panel on broadband solution first. I understand that this is a curveball for everyone, but that's the beauty of a live conference. So if I may right now, first and foremost, invite Howard, the moderator for the second panel on broadband infrastructure, along with our fellow panelists. So Howard, before we move on, just let me very quickly introduce Howard to everyone, and then you can also get into the mood to get ready for your panel session. So Howard is in fact the Chief Technology Officer of CIDPO, which is his office running the program today. So with vast experience in telecom, Howard will be moderating your discussion and to engage you with conversation with Doug. So with that, Howard, you may have the floor for 60 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tiffany. Good morning and good evening, all the panelists. We welcome you to join us. Today we have talk about the Taiwan and U.S. partnership broadband solutions. I think if everybody knows that since I believe is the year 2000, after year 2000, most of the services, telecom services, growing from audios to messagings to videos, up to now, I would say all the telecom networks cover the capacity like 85% to 90% network capacity is covered from the streaming service. Okay, so you can see that the telecom traffic is growing very fast within these couple of 20 or 30 years. So broadband seems like it's obvious for the telecom communication involvement. So from now, I think seems the telecom network is going from the traditional telecom equipment or system now goes to a more open environment. You can look at the SDN from the broadband system, the technologies. You can see O-RAN technologies coming from cloud native environment and goes to cloud native goes to open source, open hardware, all these kind of technology emerging together. So you can see telecom market is quite growing very fast and with new technology involved. So from now, I will have all the panelists to join us. You have each one of you have 5 minutes to introduce yourself and your companies, so that everybody can understand you more. And then for the last 30 minutes, we'll discuss the two major questions or to get your feedback. All right. So the first, I will introduce Doug from the U.S. Doug is the Chief Information Officer, City of Dublin, Ohio, U.S. I have the Doug to introduce yourself or your organizations. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Howard. Good morning or good evening to everyone here. I just want to start out by introducing the City of Dublin, Ohio. And in my first slide, I talk about the fact that our City Council in Dublin, Ohio, came up with the visionary goal of becoming the most connected city in the United States. It's considered a visionary goal, and certainly broadband connectivity is what is meant by that, but certainly some other things thrown in. There's a deep competition between communities in the United States to be the most connected, and so we wanted to be on the right path there. The City of Dublin has a history of broadband deployments, and the results of these deployments include things like smart mobility. There is a transport network that I'll speak about in a moment. What we have been calling the beta district, where the future is tested, and smart city applications such as smart parking. Can you go to the next slide, please? The City of Dublin's fiber optic system is called Dublink, a play on the name of our city. And the original Dublink fiber optic system that we built extends outside of the City of Dublin, which is a bit unique for municipal-owned broadband networks. It is a 125-mile conduit system in which the City of Dublin owns some of the fiber. We have used this asset in the past for economic development, for public uses, and direct leasing to telecommunications carriers, internet service providers, anyone who has a need for fiber. Those are the three uses we have traditionally had with it. Next slide, please. Within the City of Dublin, you can see the fiber that is just there in the green area. This is meant using the fiber assets to attract businesses to the city, something that has been truly extraordinarily successful since the fiber program began. The system was extended a few years ago to introduce the concept of Dublink Transport. So we built a transport network, and this network carries business traffic to a data center where service providers can be selected. This greatly reduces the cost to business and still encourages private sector service to the industry. Next slide, please. The City of Dublin deeply participates in the Intelligent Community Forum. This is something that Taiwan also does. The city established one of the Intelligent Community Forum institutes. The other institute is in Taiwan. And so we have a special relationship with the nation of Taiwan. In addition to our own initiatives, the City of Dublin acts as a thought leader on municipal broadband throughout the entire state of Ohio. And coordination of ICF activities has led us to promote the idea of there being an intelligent state, not just a smart city, but the coordination between cities. We're inspired by Taiwan in some of this. Dublin wants to lead the nation in helping Ohio become the first intelligent state in the nation. And we believe we're already a broadband-based economy, and this informs all of our strategies. Next slide, please. One initiative enabled by our long-term investment in fiber assets is the creation of the 33 Smart Mobility Corridor. We saw how smart mobility is informed by the availability of broadband as well. This initiative extends outside of the City of Dublin and involves creating a place where connected and autonomous vehicles may be tested under real-world conditions. The corridor includes a 25-mile stretch of highway with a redundant fiber network put in place to enable these kinds of smart mobility applications, and it was enhanced by the existence of the City of Dublin's fiber already. Next slide, please. The existence of the corridor has been expanded to become the beta district, where the future is tested in the Columbus region. In addition to automotive applications, the presence of a broadband network infrastructure enables the testing of numerous innovations, with mobility only the beginning. Next slide, please. These initiatives, while dynamic, cannot be completely successful while gaps exist in the availability of fiber and broadband infrastructure and services. We have found this to be the case for residents. We learned this during the pandemic and recent events in the country. There are gaps in access and coverage in every community. This gave rise to Dublin City Council's goal of being the most connected city. And the city recently published an RFP to find partners who might build or expand the network that can meet these goals on a residential level, completing Dublin's coverage by including residents. The RFP focuses on a partnership model that I think we'll speak about later, where a company may build, maintain, run, and provide services, and the city may support, share, and promote the network and its services. Next slide, please. In addition to the City of Dublin, we recognize that some in the audience may be interested in making contact with the organizations in Ohio, the Columbus region, and Dublin specifically. This slide is just to provide information on how to reach all of the entities in our region who can help connect the companies watching this event with the people who have been responsible for these initiatives and other communities in our region who may be preparing to issue solicitations as the City of Dublin has. I've included the region's Economic Development Organization and broadband specific organizations. Broadband Ohio, by the way, is a state government agency which may be of interest. Broadband Access Ohio is an association made up of cities and towns from all over Ohio who are contemplating building or running new broadband infrastructure. It's my understanding the slides may be shared with you, so you don't have to try and capture this contact information. Thank you, and I look forward to the rest of the conversation. Back to you, Howard.
Okay, thank you, Doug. Thank you very much. It's a very informative presentation. And also with the all those counterpart web links, it's very informative. Thank you very much. Okay, so next I will go to Dr. James, Dr. Dean James. Dr. James is the VP of Gemtek. Okay, James, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, my name is James Ting, VP of Gemtek, Advanced Technology and Business Strategy Division. So next page, please. So Gemtek was founded in June 1988, almost more than 30 years. And the headquarters in Hsinchu Industrial Park. So most modern things, we have many factories, two in China, one in Vietnam, and one in Czech Republic, one in Taiwan. So the employee is almost more than 4,000, and 1,000 located in Taiwan, most of the R&D and the logistic people. So capital is around 119 million US dollars. So you see the factory in Vietnam is growing fast, very fast. So we even double the capacity in Vietnam. The main reason is we move all of the telecom product manufactured from China to Vietnam. As mentioned, so there are many security issues. So we have to move and to follow US guideline, to produce those telecom equipment other than China. Next page, please. So this is the Gemtek product solutions. So you see from the right side, so we have a broadband fixed line. As Doug mentioned, it's mainly is a optical devices, GPON devices. So to be honest, the demand of this device has been doubled in the last 2 years. And the center is broadband wireless, mainly is related to LTE, 5G NR, and millimeter wave product. On the left-hand side, we said connect home. That means a Wi-Fi router. It's a consumer product. And we also provide many IoT solutions using LTE Cat M1 or LoRa technology. And we also provide some enterprise and cloud vertical market end-to-end solutions. So this is a total Gemtek product solution for our customers. Next page, please. So just give you some idea of the fixed broadband and consumer electronics partner around the world. So the main product is GPON, IP set-top box, and the Wi-Fi AP, and the Wi-Fi module. So you will see most of major operators or big companies around the world are Gemtek customers. So we ship a lot of our product, especially to the US, like the 3 major operators in the US and some system integrators. Next page, please. So since we are talking about broadband, so Gemtek has been working on the wireless broadband since WiFi CDMA, 4G LTE up to 5G NR. So all these are partners you see globally. Most of they are the mobile operators. So the benchmark product for this is the 4G LTE, 5G NR, USB dongle, Wi-Fi, indoor-outdoor CP, and even small cell. For the IoT device, so we are shipping the NB-IoT modules, sensor, and the trackers. So for assets and car trackers. So you will see all our customers are even spread around the world. So next page, please. Yeah. So in technology side, so Gemtek can provide the end-to-end solution for a product. So we are focusing on, for example, we have a very strong hardware design, hardware including electronics, PCB, and mechanic. And on the left side, we can develop all different kind of antennas for devices. And then we also have a system integration lab. So we usually have Ericsson, Nokia, Keynote, and Core Network in our lab. So we do the IoT in-house, rather than go to the field before we ship it. On the right-hand side, so we develop all the software based on our customer demand and customer spec. So it's a very customized solution for a customer. So it's very important. So because the software support is not a one shot, so we continue to support our product, especially for performance upgrade or software upgrade. Since we develop our own software, so it's easy for us to perform this kind of task. Next page, please. So this is our chipset partner. It's very important to have a good relationship with chipset partner, for product development. So most of the chipset partner from US, like Qualcomm, Broadcom, Kenby, and for example, Spirit, D2. So we have been working with this chipset partner for a long time. So that means we can solve all the issues with our chipset partner right away, rather than wait and through third party. So it's very important. Next page, please. So this is the Gemtek 5G broadband wireless product line. So on the top is we can provide the LTE 5G new radio. So indoor-outdoor CP, wireless to the home, and fast TT time to market, and fast ROI. And for vertical market, it's very important that we develop small cell. So based on O-RAN structure, so for like unlicensed band and licensed band. So for some specific device like repeater and backhaul, so for sub 6G and sub 5G and millimeter wave. So the IoT device, as I mentioned, the tracker, we use NB-IoT and LoRa. So this is our product lines. So as Doug mentioned, so we can also provide a lot of GPON device for fiber solutions. Next, please. So Gemtek is pure CM, ODM, OEM, JDM partners. We don't have our own brand, so we highly depend on close working, developing with our customers. So we will design, development, and manufacture for consumer and telecom product with the best quality, reliability, and most cost-effective. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ting. Interesting. It's very informative. I think everybody understand more about Gemtek. Okay, so next is next speaker is DY Lin. DY is the VP of Tailyn Technologies. So DY, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good morning and good evening, everyone. I'm DY Lin, and take responsibility for Tailyn the ODM business. Next page, please. Tailyn found in 1980. Our headquarters and the factory location in Taiwan area, near the Tailyn International Airport. So we are full turnkey solution provider in design and manufacturing services for both ODM and EMS. For ODM, We provide the hardware and the software development service. Also, we have the network management system for more high-end service. We combine our breadth of experience in communication and computing technology more than 42 years. And we provide complete Layer 2 and Layer 3 industrial Ethernet switch and the 5G wireless device for next generation communication network. Our high-end industrial Ethernet switch, TSN switch, 5G industrial gateway can operate in the high-end environment that can provide high-quality service for vertical market and the 5G private network. Next, please. So as I mentioned, Tailyn is an EMS and ODM company based in Taiwan. We service a variety of vertical market like transportation, automation, smart monitoring in smart city, in every environment. And also we have the 61, 80, 56, 50 Ethernet switch for cloud communication. That's all our services. So we provide the Ethernet switch, industrial level Ethernet switch for vertical market. And also we have the front hall switch for 5G O-RAN. Thank you. This is my presentation.
Okay, thank you, DY. Next comes to Mark. Mark is the president of D-Link Corporation. So Mark, hand over to you.
Hi, this is Mark Chen. We truly appreciate the opportunity to participate in this forum and panel discussion. Next page, please. Okay, let me give a quick introduction about D-Link and what we're going to offer to this panel. Next page, please. So D-Link been established since 1986. Since the day one we established, we are slightly different from most of our friends and partners in Taiwan. We are a branded company who offer our product directly globally to our customers. So up to today, after 36 years of efforts, we established about 127 local sales offices around the world in about 56 countries. And we offer the full channel of the warehouse for 20 regions and have 50 RNA to offer the reverse engineering services. And so for the overall capacity-wise, globally, we have about 2,100 employees, and they have about 25% of them are in R&D. Our key business segment, we serve both consumers as well as the commercial customers. Next page, please. So D-Link has a quite variety of products that we serve. Starting from a more like CPE-oriented company, we evolved over years. So we offer the products like the switch, which can cover from the consumer all the way up to the enterprise use, all the way up to the industrial use. We have the Wi-Fi from the typical consumer home Wi-Fi to your Wi-Fi adapter to enterprise usage of Wi-Fi. On the broadband side, we have optical product like a PON, copper product, the DSL. We also offer 4G and 5G, the modem, the MiFi, And we even already start the few trials on the 5G private network solutions with partners. On the digital home side, we have camera and all different IoT sensors, such as the water sensors. For all these products, at the currently evolving with our partner, we even offer the management system on the cloud. We call the Nucleus Connect Cloud. On the on-premise type of solution, we have so-called Nucleus Connect. So it would group all our products together, offer easy to management usage model. Next page. With the product and the service we enable, we now globally have been working with more than 100 plus service provider in all the different regions. From, you can see from the North America to South America, all the way EMEA, Asia. We service the service provider large to small. Next page, please. The way we see how we can contribute to this panel are really as a global channel, as a gap filter. As you can see, what the President Biden is looking for is really to offer a reliable high-speed internet to about 30 million the Americans in all the different corners in US. What we are good at is a very flexible approach to enable all the different type of broadband services to the different models. Next page, please. So the reason we think that we can be flexible here are two different usage models. One in the center, assuming we're working with service providers in the aggregation stage, what we can offer are aggregation type of products, like the aggregation type of switch, the Metro Ethernet switch. This type of product to work in aggregation there and to kit up with we call Nucleus cloud type of cloud-based network management systems. If we have to work on the last mile or even into the consumer home, we do have all type of CPE ranging from the optical, like a PON, to cable modem, to DSL, and that will be able to hit up that with on-premises management system we call Nucleus Connect. So that will be able to enable all the different system integrators to work with us, evolve into a bigger solutions. And all this type of flexible engagement will be able to figure out how we can help the end user or the residents, how they can enjoy either wire or wireless type of broadband. Next page, please. So the partner, as we say, what we're looking for are either your internet service providers or your system integrators. What Digging can offer are three key elements. One, we do have the leading edge of solutions. So we're able to enable the solutions based on the regional requirement. Second thing is we offer on the side, top-notch technical support. And then we also share our 30 plus years of knowledges that we learn globally. As Stephen been saying, that over the years, we're building networks for people, and our key commitment here is really offer the right connectivity that to all the users. And that's all I'm about to say for today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mark. All right, so I think we only got like 25 minutes left. So let's quickly go into our panel discussion. The first questions, I'll invite all the comments from our panelists. The first one is, so based on your observations on the broadband ecosystem in US and global, what are the opportunities that you can see to explore with Taiwan ecosystem partners? What type of partners and the partnership models could be considered? Okay, and that's the first questions. If I may, I want to invite Doug from your perspective. How do you see these? Can you give us some feedback?
Absolutely. And may I say that those were all really amazing presentations and very useful to paint the picture of the ecosystem and the opportunities with partnerships. I will say that in Ohio, there are significantly different models just within the state of Ohio and its communities. There are more rural communities that need a more robust build. That have not had maybe copper or DSL, and they're going directly to an optical solution. Some of those same areas have distances that require more wireless infrastructure. And so we find these hybrid architectures which are necessary that smaller communities and rural communities will not have the engineering and design support to be able to create. At the same time, these will be the most well-funded because of the new infrastructure bill communities. And so we have an imbalance there, whereas you see a community like the city of Dublin with 20 to 25 years of fiber experience. And as we design something, we may have less federal monies available. And so I think the ecosystem can really benefit many of these communities by being present, having local partners, and using your global experience of, some larger communities and larger corporate customers to help to craft the business models and the infrastructure models and the design models for communities in the state of Ohio, for example. And you'll find after Ohio that there are many other states that have vastly different characteristics. And I was so pleased, I want to say, to hear some of the perspective of NTIA, which all of us in the United States had been waiting for NTIA to set the rules for how the monies would be distributed. They then did that. And if you don't know, the states now have a lot of authority on how they will design the rules for distribution there. And so now our communities are looking at the different kinds of monies and resources that are there. Some communities want to run internet service provider business models. Other communities want someone else to do the entire thing and make the profit for it. So there's a lot of diversity there. And I think this ecosystem can contribute a great deal to all of those different models by helping in design and consulting. Those are going to be very important in the next few years.
Okay, thank you, Doug. So next, I would like to invite Mark. Mark, I see you a lot of in your presentation. I see from your angles, you work with the system integrators, the service providers,
Yes.
directly provide from CPE and to the application services.
Yes.
What's your comments from your perspective?
As Doug just said, we see this opportunity are so diversified, right? Because there were different requirements. Smaller community, they want a solution and they don't want to operate by themselves. There are some situation you would have a larger, let's say a city, they probably want to run their own facility. The only thing they need probably are the right equipment. So the opportunity we have seen and the way we've been working, especially in US, are with all the different channel partners to figure out first, what's the requirement and what probably is the right solution. And we evolve with our partners. So for this type of great opportunity here, we see the demand are growing. The key things is really to work with the partners like SI to figure out and service providers to figure out what's their requirements and how we can support them, what would be the right equipment, what's the right budget, or even the right business model that really to fit for the situation.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. So next, I would like to invite Dr. Ting. I see Gemtek seems like you do a lot of customizations for the customers.
Yes.
You provide wireless broadband, fixed broadband, different across the board for telecommunication services, right? So what's your comments for these?
As Tao mentioned, so the fiber demands are growing very fast. So from our experience last year and even this year, next year, the cost of the fiber device will drop dramatically. It's a good news for you. But simply because the front end device, optical device, the cost of the front end optical device dropped, and another reason is more solution provider to support, for example, GPON. Previous Broadcom dominated this market. Right now, MTK and MaxLinear, they can provide similar solution with lower price. So from Gemtek side, we see the demand even double in the US. So we increase the capacity to produce the GPON device for our customer. So of course, we develop and design based on our end customer spec requirements. So I think this is a good news for Tao. From the broadband network perspective, I think there are three categories. It's very important. Fixed line, like the fiber. Second is the broadband wireless access, like 5G NR and CBRS. So for CBRS is a very important project in the US, especially for small and medium-sized ISP company. So they would like to deploy this system for rural area or for some government institute. So in this case, so big players like Nokia, Ericsson, or even the Samsung, they are not going to provide a very cost-effective CBI solutions. So for Gemtek, so it's a small company, ODM company, so we develop an end-to-end solution for GPIs from the user terminal, CP, to base station. So this will be another good opportunity for US partners. So especially you are looking for CBIS solutions. And the third one is the telecom communication. So this will be a next generation communication, especially when the 3GPP will include the telecom in their R17 release. So in this case, so you need to find a very cost-effective user terminal for the telecom communications. So we all know, Starlink dominates this market, so they produce by their own self, develop. But other than Starlink, like the Amazon, Telset, OneWeb, the other telecom service provider operators, so they are really looking for a partner to produce a very cost-effective user terminal. I think a lot of Taiwanese company like Gemtek will provide this kind of support. So when the real demand comes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ting, for your sharing. Next, we invite DY. So DY, it seems like Tailyn's product line is very focused, right, for the industry applications.
Yes.
So, what's your comments from your perspective?
Thank you. So I think innovative application service based on the open platform, cloud and NFV solution will keep happening. 5G private network is not only for the factory automation, but also will play a very important role in vertical marketing. So in the future network, time sensitivity, time sensitive network is very important, and that is we have mentioned the TSN. TSN solution also will play the important role for next generation broadband network. So I think the TSN service will not only for 5G broadband front haul and the backhaul solution, also it will extend to from factory automation to transportation application, smart city application. So telecom operator and the system integrator, they should need the TSN solution for future service need. So I think the JDM includes highly software integration service and cooperated with the SI or branding company. It's good for complicated TSN network requirement and the time to market. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your sharing. TSN seems like even 3GPP is considering the integrated with the TSN features and services. Okay, good. All right, so let's go to the second question. As a vital partner to the global supply chain, how could you contribute to the broadband ecosystem in developing credible and cost-effective network solutions? What are your successful use case or references? What type of partners and partner models could be considered? Okay. All right. So for the second one, I would like to probably start with the Dr. Ting. James, could you give us some of your feedback on this?
Okay. So from supply chain point of view, so we find a very strange, things happen. So I think basically due to the US and China tariff war and some COVID policy in China and the labor cost in China. So they have a big move, supply chain from China to Vietnam. So previous, China, Taiwan, and US is a triangle to support all the product to the US and globally. But right now, things has been changed. So you see there are many big companies like Foxconn, like Welchon, many. They are established a big company and factory in Vietnam. So in the future, we need to consider, especially, so how to smoothly move all the supply chain from China to Vietnam is a very important topic need to be considered. So usually, for example, in the US, it's a system provider, the R&D in Taiwan, and a factory in China. If the factory move to Vietnam, so there will be a lot of difficulty. For example, raw materials still produced in China. So, and the Vietnamese and Chinese, the culture are totally different. It's very difficult to work with them. So in this case, so I think there are a lot of extra tasks need to be considered and to be done, especially. So we need to consider. So if any raw material be blocked by China or they increase the cost. So even we get some benefit from Vietnam manufacturing, but the cost still cannot get too low. So this is what we will consider how to combine these unknown factors together in order to give our customer a very good price. Usually, our US customer, you move to Vietnam, so your cost should be very low. But other than the just labor issue, there are other issues. So we need to solve in order to give the best price, the cost to our customer in US. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ting. Yeah, it's very important to have the your insight from supply side for the customers because the environment, the industry environment is changing now globally, I would say. Yeah, so all these move, whether or not can get into the better CP to our customers, its CP value to our customers is also has to be considered in the future.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Next one, I would like to invite DY. DY, do we have any feedback on this? You are mute. You have to unmute, DY.
Sorry. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Howard. Okay. The broadband ecosystem include broadband networks, broadband compatible device, content and application. So it's all the service, anything we meet every day. So company will not just provide the pure hardware, ODM or contract manufacturer service. It can include the value-added service. I mean, it's the software corporation, like provide a network management software or customer network management integration or network configuration management software service and the cloud integration service. So that will reduce a lot of development cost and the time to market for building customer or for system integrator. So in Tailyn, we not only provide the complete product design, include hardware design and the software design and the manufacturer services, but we also include the network management system solution and cloud integration with our partner. So we in Taiwan, we have a good reference in transportation network service. We developed a lot of the solution to transportation network in Taiwan and in worldwide. So software cooperation is very important to provide a competitive solution and win-win with our customer. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It's very practical feedback. I think all the supplier needs to work with our partners, whether it's hardware or it's a software partners, right? So yeah, system integrators, domestic service providers, all these kind of partners. Okay, next I would like to invite Doc, probably from your perspective, can give us some feedback on this.
Yes, so it's interesting from a community's perspective, we always want to keep our mind on who is the end user and what are the use cases. And it was nice to see those things talking about homes, smart neighborhoods. For us, our direct line of sight is students, people who have to now learn from home, people who are working from home in a way that did not happen before, people who are aging in place, and all of these community-based user scenarios that have kind of upended our economy because connectivity was not, the economy wasn't dependent on it as it is now. And so now we have to be in homes as we are in manufacturing facilities. So from that perspective, an ideal or a very valuable supply chain from our perspective, the view from us is, you know, we look at a partnership that will include a large global engineering firm, perhaps, a large equipment manufacturer who's, you know, making some world-class equipment and software, and perhaps an internet service provider who's on the ground, and that could have been an electrical co-op or somebody like that. And then we would include the city or a community as part of that supply chain. And so all of us are dealing with these supply chain disruptions that make all of these network developments more difficult. And now with extraordinary once in a generation level of funding being made available, there's a great race going on for customers and projects. And so from our perspective, that model of very large international partners, maybe slightly smaller international partners on the equipment side, systems integrators, we would expect to see those kinds of partnerships mitigate some of the supply chain challenges that we've been seeing for a long time. And I really want to make sure I say this, that while we are very much more sensitive to security concerns on who the manufacturer is and where things are made, we do not have restrictions on working internationally, and we definitely want to maintain a global supply chain for this, because we recognize that while I want to see this in Ohio, every country and every state and every city is in desperate need of this. So we need a much smoother global supply chain so that we can deliver these things all over the place.
Okay, thank you. Very informative. It's quite obvious that the network security concern is for the open environment or open network is the top priority one concerns.
Yes.
From either from customers or from the government side. Okay. Next, Mark, probably you can give us some of your feedback on this as well.
Yes, and I think that Doc has been asked all the perfect question that what, especially for the U.S. Community would need. And let me maybe give out some success story, what we've been doing in the last couple of years. The first one is in education segment. We've been working with the school district in Texas and in California to really offer a school-wide full coverage of network system, all the way from the aggregation to all the wire and wireless access to the whole school. And we offer the easy to use, we call Nucleus Connect. It's a very easy to use network management system. So that would allow the school staff, they're able to control the whole network without really spend that much time to learn all the IT technology. Then they are able to easily authenticate the users, manage the equipment, or even in the future, we work closely with their system integrator to upgrade the network. Because so far, both the cell phone and also the Wi-Fi technology being evolved so fast. The key is not just to have equipment on site, but also over the year, how you're going to upgrade, keep out the speed with all the evolutions. So we've been doing that, and we will be so appreciate if we get a chance to expand our services to Ohio with Doc. That would be wonderful. And second example is really to work with assisted living community. We've been working with the U.S. major nursing home Chen. What we offer is a full broadband entries with the ISP, but from their fiber in, we would offer the Ethernet switch as the aggregation and fan it out to all the different buildings. Depends on the need. It could be wire, it could be wireless with Wi-Fi. And then for their headquarters, they will be able to have a full management system to control all the different community they're running. And key here is we work closer again with both the property owner and we work with the system integrator to make sure we fully understand what's the security need, what's the daily requirement for all the throughput, and how the users are using those networks, and how we can offer the timely maintenance to make sure the whole network being up and running 7/24. And the third one is what's going on currently in Japan. Because during the pandemic, there are so many Soho, users, small office, franchise type of companies. They all need the broadband and also network equipment. We've been working with the largest the internet service provider in Japan to offer a cloud managed system that will be able to do auto provisioning for the installation. And then in the future, they can do remote upgrade, remote management of users for both administration and also for authentication. So for that usage model, a service provider able to leverage that all the management capability we've been built up and to do a so-called cloud-to-cloud connection so they can fully leverage our services to their customer with much less effort of integration and the future maintenance. So we have been seeing all this type of the variation of broadband service and requirement evolving globally, and we'll be so happy would have a chance to continue to work with, no matter in US or global, all different type of partners. And through D-Link as almost like as a front channel, we it will be our pleasure to also incorporate solution like from Gemtek or from Tailyn to integrate that based on the user requirement and help them to speed up the engagement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Well, I was told that since the network environment is getting more open, then the supply from the equipment supplier is a multi-vendor environment.
Yes.
But if you look at the from supplier side up to a system integrator side or service integrator side or solution provider or service provider, there is a different story. From that two levels, I would say not necessarily multi-vendor. As a SI or a service provider, it not necessarily has to be multi-vendor. But for the equipment supplier, it could be multi-vendor environment from hardware, from the software side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. I think we just run a little bit late. I will thank all the panelists. Thank you for your comments and your sharings. It's very helpful. I think even with a bigger help or the to our audience, I would say. Okay, thank you very much for your time. See you. I'll try to see you next time, though. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Howard.
you.
Thank you all the panelists from the broadband session. We are about to move into the first panel to focus on supplier diversity in Open RAN. So once again, we apologize to all of the audience for the final change in our program, but we are sure it is all for the best. So now we're going to be shifting our focus to panel one, and just to let everyone know, due to an urgent difficulty, Cleet will not be joining us as the moderator, but Howard will stay on to engage the conversations with our fellow panelists. So Howard, you may have the floor again.
Okay, thank you, Tiffany. Hello, all the panelists. I'm Howard Chao, the CTO of Communication Industry Promotion Office. Okay, thank you all. All right. Let's for today's panel one. The things that we want to talk about is how do we strengthen Open RAN supplier diversities in the ecosystem? Okay. I think each of you have 5 minutes to introduce yourself and your companies or your organizations. Then we have like 30 minutes to go over two questions that we have here now. Okay. So the first one, I would like to invite Tom. Tom
Thank
is
you.
the RVP of 5G MEC and OEM partnership, RingCentral. Okay, Tom, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you. Thanks so much. Thanks for inviting me to this panel. It's a great pleasure to always work with ITRI. So my history goes back to WiMAX Forum when I was very much involved with chairing the application working group for many years. And ITRI was at the heart of all of the activities when we were at WiMAX Forum. So with that, I want to thank you, Tiffany, for inviting me to this panel. I am working for RingCentral at least almost a year now, or maybe a bit less. But before that, I was working for Facebook for a couple of years, and before that, I was with AT&T for almost 16 years, and some startups, before that as well too. So at RingCentral, what we basically are enabling is cloud native unified communication as a service. We have today we are selling a lot of the cloud native PBXs. We started with voice. and now we have video and messaging and some of the other aspects of the capabilities of call centers, webinars, basically boards. And so more of a, creative collaboration center, and the effectiveness of all of this unified communication was more clear after the pandemic, when more people are working from hybrid environment, from home and work from anywhere. And our real intention is to enhance that experience with all kind of smart gadget devices that are next generation phones, next generation headsets, and we are more of enabling more of a cloud native solutions to continue in this route. We were just in another panel, another basically discussion with Poly and other gadget vendors with HP. The discussion was around that nobody wants to go to work anymore, and people want to work from anywhere. They might come to work for socializing, even free dinner, free lunches doesn't work anymore. So I'm proud to say that our company has been partnering with many service providers, and a lot of what you see, Verizon and AT&T, British Telecom, Dutch Telecom, Vodafone, they're selling on the unified communication. They have partnered with us and either white labeling or something with RingCentral. And so with that, I'm just maybe a little bit more emphasis on where our roadmap is as we are making progress towards XR application. We know that the natural evolution for unified communication is really a 3D environment, immersive, what Meta and those guys announced. So I would imagine hyperspace communication where people can meet up in their favorite hyperspaces and breakout rooms, etc., that are more advanced with AR, VR. So that's where we are heading. With that, maybe I'll stop and pass the floor to my colleagues, and I'll be happy to answer questions afterwards.
All right. Thank you for the sharing. Tom is very informative presentations. I see a lot of services solutions for the to solve COVID problems that we have at current moment. Okay. Next one, I would like to invite Eugene. Eugene is the VP of Business Development, Coherent Logix. Eugene, the floor is yours.
Good morning, good evening, everyone. Honored to be here to introduce Coherent Logix 5G program for you. Next slide, please. Yeah, Coherent Logix is headquartered in Austin with several additional offices in USA and Canada. And we just under 20 years in business, starting from the contract for the US government, military aerospace, and later on we have the commercial line of business as well. And on the right-hand side, Jordan, it might be a good representation for our progression over the years, and based on our platform and also processor. On the upper left, that's our first generation, the processor and platform. And at that time, we were focusing on the video analytic and AI, and that's based on 135 nanometer, the IBM foundry. And on the upper right, that's the second generation of the processor platform. And at that time, we are leading the software-defined radio, and it's a 90 nanometer TSMC foundry. And one of the monumental projects, as you see on the right-hand side, that we have developed 4 space qualified processor to support NASA International Space Station, which was launched in year 2009 and still working up there very nicely. The lower 2 picture on the left, about 8 years ago, we have a generation 3, which is based on the 65 nanometer TSMC foundry. Then we go into the commercial market, starting one of them with the LTE 4G small cell. And on the right, for the same processor, We are pioneering the next generation TV broadcasting in USA, and have developed the system prototype in Austin about 6 years ago. Now it's become USA's next generation standard, so-called ATSC 3.0. And with the same processor, we are also applying to the 5G that we have successfully demonstrated the 5G product decoding at the 3GPP conference, and now become the mandatory standard for the industry. Next slide, please. So the technology, next, please. Yeah, Coherent Logic was founded in early year 2000, and that when the supercomputer was very popular. So that's our process are based on. It's a distributed grid showing here. The green is a DSP processing element surrounded by DMR, data memory routing. Unlike the Taiwan industry, very familiar with CPU, GPU, ASIC, which is a centralized computing and memory resources. All the communication traffic are through the system bus. But when you have heavy traffic on the system bus, it's consumed lots of power, and back and forth traffic that's slow, has a longer latency, and the throughput was discounted. And for the distributed grid, everything is done locally. Next slide, please. Just to add another closer view, on the upper right, you see the processing element. That's a high-performance DSP. Consider them as a worker when you design the machine learning or the AI. On the lower left, you see the DMR, which has 8 direction with two-way multi-thread, the pipelining parallel processing. And every DMR has 8 DMA engine supported. Next slide, please. Technology in summary, another unique contribution from a Coherent Logic offering is that we are 100% software-defined processor. On the right, use the 5G small cell as an example. If you would be designing the 5G small cell, that you have many function blocks, from source coding to modulation to interleaving to the encryption and channel coding, and also A to D, D to A is showing here. Every function block can be optimized and automated independently. If needed, we can also locate all the building blocks and to enhance the security. Next slide, please. Summary of the what we are offering. We are offering the lowest high-performance computing process in the market. Also can be tied to meet the petaflop the capacities, and the cost is an order of magnitude less than typically you see in the FPGA and GPU complex, based on our project with UT Austin project report. Also, we are offering the lowest power consumption that in our coming 5th generation 7 nanometer processor. It's our simulation project will be much exceed the teraflop per second per watt. That's already reaching the supercomputer category. Lastly, I think our SoC can be reused. One time, the same processor can be used for 5G small cell. Another time, you can use it for 4K, 8K application. Next slide, please. So we quickly go into the 5G application now. Next slide, please. First, it shows use the 5G small cell as an example. And then to the right, you see there's an antenna array followed by the analog component. Then you have the A to D and D to A. And from this point on to the left, you have digital radio and the baseband portion. That can be on the Coherent Logic processor. And that will consist of layer 1, 2, 3 software and more. Next slide, please. This is our newest fourth generation the processor. It's the 12 nanometer low power processing from Global Foundry, and it has 416 DSP cores, which represented by the green color in here. Underneath, you see the yellow color, which had embedded the 4 RISC-V processor. In the inner block, you see populated by the many different kind of I/O interface to support various kinds of the applications. Furthermore, we have since the Moore's law is approaching the limit now, so we are adopting the next generation semiconductor packaging technology called chiplet from the TSMC, and then that for the advanced 5G small cell application, you can integrate the additional acceleration chip die and the security and also high-speed I/O like a PCIe, the SerDes I/O or the Glasswind interface. In fact, you can also integrate with the Intel Xeon, the chip die, and to support the cloud server edge computing AI application. It's very powerful and it is space qualified, used for 5G terrestrial as well as satellite. Next slide, please. So where are the opportunity for us to support the 5G operator in US and in globally? Currently, from our understanding, all the operator right now is looking for the advanced the business model and maximize the revenue stream, and that's great. But right now they need help. Is that the challenging is that they're going to based on the model, based on the low band radio, mid band, and millimeter wave. They also have to consider to support 3GPP, release 15, 16, 17, and also the awarded spectrum from the government. And if they would deploy the small cell right now, if the requirement change, they have to deploy, then they may have to recall for service, then redeploy. That's resource exhaustive and financially unbearable. That is where they need help right now. So given Coherent Logic has the 100% software defined, so we offer be able to offer the field upgradation after the deployment, and that will save the operator millions of dollars. And in addition, I think our solution can also support both O-RAN and traditional RAN and plus multi-vendor. Next slide, please. So what's the bottom line? The maximize the revenue stream. First, we can provide at least the total cost of ownership to minimize their CapEx and OpEx. And also we have flexible design win to support the Open RAN, including O-RAN Alliance, small cell, 4RAN, MFRP, and TIP, and plus the traditional RAN, and also multi-vendor, the mixed chip as well. And also, as I mentioned, we are also offering the next generation semiconductor packaging chiplet SKUs, and that be able to support to maximize the revenue stream for the high densification of the consumer market, for the FWA, fixed wireless access enterprise, and also private network, plus all kinds of vertical market. Bottom line, we be able to help them to achieve the best ROI. And next slide, please. So lastly, how we together be able to achieve this? And then in coherence with today's forum on the ecosystem partnership, to support all this requirement from operator, we have been syndicating a 5G consortium. So we are working with the 5G operator, SI, and also many product solution companies, some from Taiwan, starting from the 5G small cell and CPE, and Coherent Logic will be providing the platform, including processor, including the software library, including the IPR, and also the SDK and also the 5-layer domain software stack. In parallel, we are working with several strategic partners, provide layer 2, layer 3. And then for this task, the strategic partner will have an equal cost sharing. The last slide, next please. Yeah, so actually implement, we're going to use the 416 chip just reported for prototyping with a running change to the 180 chip we call the Autumn chip will be available around the second quarter of next year. And that's what I have prepared for today to share with you. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Eugene. It's very informative presentation. I see a lot of development from your countries to 5G equipment. Okay, thank you. Next one, I would like to invite Raymond Powell. Raymond is the Senior VP of Business Solution, HTC. So Raymond, the floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. It's great to have this opportunity to join the forum and then to introduce our company. Our company is HTC, but we also showing here like we have a company name called Coherent. I think there's a story behind that. Like HTC was founded back to 1997, and most of you probably know our brand. Like we have done smartphone from early stage. Like we done smartphone communication products since 20 years ago, from PDA phone, Windows phone, and then to Android phone. So we spend lots of the effort in the communication protocol, and then our team actually there's a software team spending 20 years in all the protocols from 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G. So we know all the carrier requirements, we know all the certifications, and we know the customer expectations. But in 2018, actually, when we start to review all the 5G specification and then use case, we find out most of the carriers and also the smartphone manufacturers, everybody is focused in the consumer user scenarios. But from our point of view, that's just part of it. That's just 50%. But we see 5G, there's more opportunity, more potential to help the enterprise to finish their digital transformation. So our team decided to move our focus from terminal side to infra side, and then we invest a lot in the 5G O-RAN SA architecture. Our goal is to using the 5G O-RAN SA to provide the optimized private 5G network for enterprise to do the digital transformation. Our CEO, Chairwoman Wang, is very supportive. So she gave the team opportunity in this year. We become 100% subsidiary owned by HTC. So the new company called Coherent. This is a small team. We are running like a startup. We have only 50 people, but over 90% are software engineers. Next slide, please. So our focus is very different. When we start to look the O-RAN architecture, it is great. It's open architecture, and then I think the reason carriers and then all the industry, they're looking for this O-RAN because of its diversity. So we're reviewing our advantage, and then we're seeing our partners. So we decided our key focus will be in the software part. We will focus in the CU and DU software. We are based on Intel FlexRAM to build the whole stack on top of it. So in Taiwan, as you know, we have very strong ICT infrastructures. We have so many partners in Taiwan. They can do the radio equipments, they can do the servers, they have partners doing the 5G core. But focus in the vRAN, CUDU software, we are probably the very few company in Taiwan. And then we're proud of our focus, and then we think we are the most matured commercial ready vRAN software. So when we choose to be the vRAN partner, actually all the Taiwanese companies are our partners, and we are not competitors anymore. Next slide, please. So we start to build some projects in Taiwan from Kaohsiung Exhibition Center. we source different hardware from other companies and then build the end-to-end solutions in the projects just to practice our VRAN maturity and commercial ready. I think after the first 2-3 projects, we see there are more and more factories and labs and schools. They actually are interested in adopting the 5G private network. They're interested in 5G now, but most of them, I think they are not ready to commit the 5G at the beginning as the step one. So we think we need to help them. We need to help them to transit from the current, they are interested in 5G to the next step, how they want to adopt 5G into their campus or factories. So we built this box, 5G in a box, we call the RAN Core. It is our sales tool. It is our POC product. It is an intermediate product to help our customers to transit from, interesting level to a really adoption level. So this puts everything, the whole 5G into a box, and then it is just in the Pelican case. So I can travel with this Pelican case everywhere. I travel with this Pelican case to LA office last September. And then I set up the 5G private network over there to demonstrate for 3 weeks. Next slide, please. Excuse me. So this is more detailed spec of our RAN core. As you can see, we have a 5G core here. We partner with Tailyn, which is a Taiwan 5G core. We also partner with Droid. In the server side, we also leverage lots of partners. For example, Supermicro is one of the partners. Even in the radio units, well, I'm working with Foxconn. David will talk about that later. And also I'm working with Alpha as well. So by all the partners strong supporting us, we can build this box. And then with this box, I just go to the demo place. I plug in the power. I just put the radio unit somewhere high, and then in 30 minutes, I can set up the complete 5G private network. And even in this private 5G network, it is a full featured. So with the default profile, I can reach download speed to 700 megabits per second, and then I can have 80 megabits per second upload speed. I can register for 32 devices, and then I can have 20 devices active at the same time. This is a little bit, we kind of purposely constrained because it is for kind of POC and then demo. We have our radio unit to 78, 79, and then we have 48 very soon. We're going to plan some demonstration just in August in US for the CBRs. With this box, I think this is the great first step for lots of the factories when they want to test their 5G applications, their 5G scenarios. They want to get some more data and then even find out their return of investment. I think this is a great step to help them just to pilot run for 6 months or a year. So we kind of sell this box, but we also can rent this box out. Next slide, please. So with different scenarios, we understand there's probably some scenarios like VR, we just need some smaller scale, like maybe 20 meters around. But there's some IoT or even some automotive driving tests. They need quite a big space. So even with this box, we can do different configurations, like 1 radio units or 2 radio units, or even I'm working with UEFI space to have the R hub to expand the radio units to 8 or 16. So you can cover a very big space. So even with the same box, I can provide different configuration to accommodate different coverage needed. Next slide, please. And also we understand since we want to help the enterprise, their user scenarios, their applications is the key, is the king, right? So we need to base on their applications to really optimize and fine tune our performance. So besides of the default profile, we also have 3 different profiles prepared. The first one is download speed. We can change some network configuration to stress the download speed. So we can have 1 gigabit per second download speed for the device. We also have the upload speed profile where we can support 350 megabits per second for the upload speed. We've tested with 3 4K cameras, and then the latency is very low, and then we can support multiple cameras. We also have a dedicated VR profile. Like, we know VR is important, so VR is very critical scenario for us. Because of the big data rate, high frequency, low latency, and then low data error rate. So we have a dedicated VR profile. Even in one box, we can support up to 6 VR users. Next slide, please. I brought this box to NWC as well. So in this picture, it is a video, but I cannot show here. But you can see we have a box in the NWC venue, and then in the venue, I can cover the whole booth for 5 days, and then I run total 9 devices over there. I have 4 VR streaming devices. I have 2 remote driving cars, and then I have 1 AI cameras, and then I have 3 remote display, like the glass, and then also TV using 5G to see the remote driving car view as well. So with one single box, I can easily start to build this 5G private network and then start to adopt the scenario. Next slide, please. So after this event, we are also invited. We're showing our box in Dish Expo in May in Las Vegas. So we're seeing the US and then Germany and then Japan, probably the 3 most the leading countries with the 5G O-RAN support, and with the special RF spectrum allocated. So we're looking forward for the further discussion, and then we're looking forward for more partners to see how we can collaborate all together. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Raymond. It's a very interesting presentation. See a lot of application and services. 5G in a box. It's quite brilliant ideas. Okay, so next one I would like to invite David from FII. David is VP of Infrastructure Product Division, Foxconn Industrial Internet. Okay, David, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Howard. So I'd just like to, first of all, thank everyone who's participating today, and the audience as well as the panelists, and thank MOE for organizing this. I think it's really super helpful to have this kind of event, especially in O-RAN, where really, as most of the speakers have mentioned, partnership and working together is a new business model, and it's really important in O-RAN. So I'll probably talk a little bit about that. I think everybody pretty much knows Foxconn, so I'll keep my slides short, just 2 related to products. And but from Foxconn, we're very focused on what we call 3+3, which is 3 fundamental technologies: 5G, semiconductor, and AI, and 3 applications that emerge from that, which would be EV, digital health, and robotics. So that's kind of where our focus is at Foxconn corporate level. And then obviously FII, Foxconn Industrial Internet, is the 5G part of that. And we're focused on handsets, base station, and base station includes traditional base station, mostly contract manufacturer, and also O-RAN. So that's a very new thing for us. So in O-RAN, we've pretty much been one of the first participants, starting out in 2019 with the first PlugFest in Beijing. And at that time, we demonstrated our 7.2 split RU and DU. And so we've been pretty focused on that since then. So I've kind of just introduced the products real quick. We've got an indoor radio that is basically in production now. It's N78, N79, and N77 frequencies. N77 we're using in US market, and also N48 is one that we're working with partners right now to start developing that. We also have an outdoor radio that's 8T8R, and that's in N78, N79 bands, and we're working on an N48 variant for that as well. Now, these radios, as I mentioned, are in mass production now, and they have all the CE, FCC, and TELEC certificates necessary to work in Japan, Europe, and US markets. So that's kind of where we're focused right now. We also in FII have split 2 radios, which are also called all-in-one. So we do have that version as well. But what we see in ORAN is that the 7.2 split is much more flexible in terms of deployment options. We have a CU and DU server as well, and that's focused on either NSA or SA. But what we really see is the SA is the very strong trend. So pretty much all of our focus is there now. And we can do FDD or TDD support, but we're focused again on TDD based on the bands that our radios operate in. And these can support pretty good user throughput, 1.2 gigabits per second, 128 UEs, and 3-cell support. So that would be per cell, 128 UEs. And another area we're really working on now is deployments. And so in deployment, there's a lot of things that become important, things like the delay in the front haul. And so we're really working right now, we can deploy up to 10 kilometers in front haul, but we're working to expand that to 30 kilometers. And that will help to address things like the digital divide in countries where maybe the agricultural or the rural areas are underserved. So being able to extend front haul and having low cost radio solutions that can then be tied back into a centralized DU, CU cloud or edge cloud is really important architecture, we think, and one of the things that Split 7.2 allows for. So those are some of the key areas we're focusing on. Let's see, maybe we can go to the next slide real quick. And this is just an example of two of those deployments. One is in Japan. It's for cable TV companies. And this one, I think we'll talk more maybe in the panel discussion about sales and business models and partnerships. But this one we're doing end-to-end. So it's turnkey, our 5G core, our DU, CU, and our radio. And it's for an outdoor deployment for fixed wireless access for cable TV companies. Another example that Raymond mentioned is the Kaohsiung Exhibit Center. It's part of a larger 5G government-led project in Taiwan for 5G in Kaohsiung City. But here we have indoor radio, and this would just be the little red squares would be places where radios are deployed. And this is really the first one I mentioned in Japan is pretty much turnkey end-to-end. This one is just the opposite. It's fully every part of the network, every network element is provided by a different vendor. I think there are four vendors involved with two DU vendors involved. So that is a really good example of a very open network. And so I think there are cases where one might be appropriate, and other cases, probably many more cases, where the more open solution is the appropriate way to go. But I just wanted to kind of go through some of those things, and I'll yield my time, and we can maybe talk more in the panel discussion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, David. So the next one, we'll quickly go through David, another David from Alpha Networks. David Chou is General Manager of Wireless Broadband Business Unit, Alpha Networks. So David, the floor is yours.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Good morning and good afternoon. My name is David Chou. I respond for the wireless broadband business unit in Alpha Network, also with the 5G the product lines. Okay. In Alpha Networks, we developed the 5G more than 5 years. Start from the 2018. That's cooperate with the Taiwan government MOEA supporting for the 8+ project. So that's until now that we have developed the 5G end-to-end solution from the UE to the radio unit, indoor-outdoor, and also with the distributed unit and centralized unit. So that's we more focus on the enterprise application. That means the vertical application. And now we enhanced the whole end-to-end system, the performance to migrate to the carrier grade, including the stability and downstream, upstream performance. Okay, next. Next slide. I'm quickly give the Alpha company, Alpha Networks brief, company profile brief. That's we are more. I think Alpha is the ODM. We more focus on the ODM business and provide the end-to-end solution. So from the 2020, that's Alpha going as for the revenue, the annual revenue is 1,000 million US dollars. Next. Next slide. So as I mentioned, we are a professional network ODM company. So the headquarters is in Hsinchu, Taiwan, and we have several sales office in worldwide, including Japan and North America in USA. And we have two R&D center. One is in headquarters, Hsinchu, Taiwan. The other one is in Chengdu, China. Next. And for the factory, now we have 4. The list on the presentation. That's we have. There are 3, but that's in Hsinchu headquarters, and the other 2 is in China, Dongguan, and Changzhou. And now we have Vietnam factory to distribute the factory capacity for worldwide business. Next. So for the product solutions for our ODM company, we have 5 major product solutions for our customers. The first one is the switch. That's we call the LAN-MAN business unit, including the data center switch from 400 gigabit switch, and also with the 100 and 200 gig the enterprise switch. And that's we built the 5G XOR transport switch for to integrate with the integrate into the our 5G end-to-end network solutions. The second one is the MEC. That's we cooperate with the Huawei server provider in Taiwan company, and we developed the MEC software, and that's also the solution integrate with into our 5G end-to-end solutions. And for the wireless broadband, that's including the major is 5G from the NRCPE and the small cell and open RAN now. Definitely for the wireless and the broadband, the optical, the GPON solutions. Next. And also with we have the IP camera for the video surveillance, and with the mobile, the enterprise solution for the radar in vehicle detector. So from these solutions switch to the MEC to the UE, the 5G UE and CUDU, and including the IP camera. So that's why we, I think Alpha Networks is the one can provide the 5G network end-to-end solution to our customers, not just the CPE. That we can provide the radio unit and with the end-to-end the total solution to our customers. Next. Next, please. Okay, so that's the total the Alpha's product portfolio. That's including from the mobile broadband and wireless and the optical network solutions. From also with the switch side from the data center, carrier switch. So we can from this portfolio, we can provide the whole the network solution for our customers based on the ODM solutions. Okay, that's all my presentations. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, David. Thank all the panelists to your presentations. It's very informative, and I think it's very helpful and valuable to our audience to understand your companies and yourself. Okay, I think our time is limited. We only got like 10 to 11 minutes left. I would like to change a little bit on our discussion sequence. We got two questions here. I will invite Tom and David from FII talk about the first questions. The rest of the panelists, let's focus on the question 2, right? Okay, the first question is based on your observations toward open RAN ecosystem in US and the global market. What are the opportunities that you can see that could be explored with Taiwanese ecosystem? What type of partners and partner models could be considered? Okay, let me have the Tom. Can you share your comments on this? Okay.
Sure. Thanks so much. Yeah. This is a great question, actually, and I've been really honored to be working with some of the companies from Taiwan lately. We at RingCentral, we are kind of a global service provider. We are in 110 countries plus, and we are expanding into additional countries in Middle East and places that we have not have our services. So we pretty much are a global company, and everything is cloud native. In addition to that, we are signing up with all the partners from service providers, and service providers are asking us to enable them with end-to-end solutions. We turnkey solutions for deploying, and our forte is not more about consumer type business, more like B2B, enterprise, and all of that. So for that, we are really talking to various basically 5G providers and device manufacturers. We're trying to bundle our application with 4G, 5G, Wi-Fi 6E, and devices that would make sense for that special vertical. Healthcare, for example, is looking for many of these solutions for frontline workers, right? And manufacturing, similarly, frontline workers are sort of deskless. They are hand-free, and they want to be able to do their work. Many of our solutions will go into these different verticals: smart cities, maybe cruise ships, education, and what have you. So we are working very closely with partners like yourselves, and we are hoping to use system integrators. For example, we are looking at even Federated Wireless, even though they are a SaaS company for US. We look at them as a system, as a SI in US and maybe later internationally, that we could partner with them and pick and choose the right radio equipment, right device infrastructure for the right vertical. And with that, given that everything is going to the cloud native now, whether some of these equipment may be sitting in the AWS, maybe sitting on the central offices or on premise at the edges. So there is this notion of distributed cloud and centralized cloud, right? Many of these new rulings, government rulings, are such that they need to be compliance from data localization perspective. When you have A connected to B, or person A wants to access the data that belongs to some government entity or some even entities, they want to make sure that the data stays in the right place, and only you have access to it from US, for example, or that particular country in Europe. So it's very important to us really to work with our Taiwanese companies, which they're doing a great job in terms of putting out some great reference platforms, hardware and software together to co-innovate with them, co-create with them, and be able to even, in some cases, jointly develop application tightly coupled with the hardware and software stack of 4G, 5G, and Wi-Fi 6E, and even Wi-Fi 7. And in some cases, be open to revenue share models. And the team, I mean, is a very new group. We haven't even announced it yet publicly. We are about now basically multi-sided partnership. We bring various technology companies together with our own platforms, with our own kind of unified communication as a service, plus additional technology that we are working with others that would complement us, and we would deploy it in various locations. So how we can really work together, from my perspective, is you guys need to have presence with us. We are, for example, we are going to be at AWS Barcelona in February. I mean, not of course we're going to attend MWC America in September. But our intention is really, when we have our booth and we have all the executives of various service providers that we have relationship with visit us, we want to be able to do a proper demonstration of our applications optimized for for the proper 5G and 4G network. And this is where we can have a play, where you guys can come in and really look at from the value that we bring to the table from application perspective, right? We are going to be head to head with some of the metaverse applications, some of the applications. We are actually collaborating with them. We are collaborating with even we call them supermodels, Apple, Google, Facebook, and all of them, in some cases, to together win these enterprise solutions and these mobility solutions that the end users are asking for. So really, from my perspective, I'm looking for you guys to be present in our labs, whether our labs are here in Bay Area, or it's in Europe, or in Middle East, etc. Participate and have these reference designs that are loaners that we can put our application on it and go after customers together in some cases, right? We might not be able, to do it alone. We need networking gears, we need device manufacturers, we need stack vendors, and we also need our own applications to basically optimize it for that purpose. So I guess, with that, from, the next generation phones, we could test them together, and we can start looking at them from some of the capabilities that these next generation phones or video devices they have. A lot of the frontline workers, just FYI, there are like 2.7 billion frontline workers out there, and all of them, they've been really underserved. So far we've been serving the knowledge workers, where they've been, or desk workers, where they've been sitting in their desk and doing work. And now we need to think about how do we create an environment for them to securely, while they are in the field, to be able to share their data in a proper way based on the policy or based on, or the data should stay at the right place, and be able to serve these companies and the momentum that comes with it. And also, one last item before I pass it on to you guys is, smart glasses, right? We are frontline workers. They and it's like mushrooming out. Some of these smart glasses, from various companies, Ray-Ban, Meta, Magic Leap, maybe Apple. I don't know. They haven't announced it yet. But they're sort of mushrooming out. An ability for us to have our front end agents sitting in these watches and glasses and smart cameras and IoT devices, where they could service mesh with one another, where they could communicate with through the cloud or non-cloud or distributed cloud environment. Those are all critical things that we need to look at and look at how Open RAN and 5G plays a role here, right? From our perspective or even customers' perspective, 5G, whether it is ORAN or Wi-Fi, is just means to the end. End of the day, they want to make sure their applications are running with a secured environment. They have a capability to upscale their video from high definition to 4K. They can control basically what part of the data gets AI, ML applied to it, and what are the inferences that they can take from the data that they capture with that. So with that, let me stop, and then for the interest of time, I'll let colleagues also to communicate, talk about that too.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Thank you for your very informative, and you talk about all these different collaboration models and opportunities. It seems like go through you and your company is a very good choice, right? Okay.
Yeah, we look forward to any kind of collaboration we can do with you guys.
Okay, thank you. So next, David from FII.
Okay, hi. I would like to kind of just reiterate some of the things Tom mentioned. I think collaboration is the key #1 word. And I think probably each one of us on this panel and in the audience will be collaborating with each other on various projects in the next 2 to 5 years. So, and that's a real change in the industry from what it used to be 5 years ago even. So I think that's a really, really key thing. And sometimes collaboration takes patience. It doesn't have an immediate payoff always. And so I think that's something that we need to be looking at as industry leaders, that making this collaboration happen is a very important thing for the long term. And I think digital divide, Tom kind of mentioned it in terms of frontline workers and office workers. I think obviously the rural and urban is another form of that. So addressing the digital divide and getting new technology in people's hands everywhere is really important. And that's a huge opportunity for all of us. Let's see. So those are a couple of things I want to just kind of take from Tom and agree and maybe amplify. I think in terms of partnership, and Tom maybe is focused very much at application layer and higher layer, And that's, I think, where there's another really good opportunity for Taiwan companies and other international companies to work together. Because what we're primarily focused on, I would call the base layer. And so, at least for FII, we're focused on connectivity and making best-in-breed O-RAN equipment that is integratable and interoperable with anybody's equipment. So that's that, and what that can do is give Tom and other companies like that a toolbox that, as he mentioned, he can pick the best products for the applications and solutions that they're working on. So I think that's a really important thing. And I think, you know, it tends to be a rising tide raises all boats. And so as we work together and as we add more and more collaboration and more integration that's already pre-integrated, that's going to make the SI companies have a much stronger position. And I do think, also to agree with Tom, the migration into cloud and the migration into SI and domain knowledge will be a very strong trend in the future. So I think telcos still definitely have a place to play, and they'll be very, very important. But the big cloud companies working with SIs focused on industry-specific solutions will be really, really key to big growth. I think another thing in Taiwan, probably most of us on the panel and in the audience from Taiwan side were very open to white labeling and to working with other solution partners in that sense. And having channel partner is another really, really key thing. So in many times, having a global network of sales and support is something that a channel partner may be able to do better than us. And so that's where this kind of new synergy arises. One other thing I just kind of mentioned, I see a trend in some senses for kind of away from globalization and towards nationalization, at least in some areas. And that might include countries like India or even Turkey, where they're very much trying to establish their own local industries. And I think that's even an opportunity to work together to help expand our markets into that. Those are some of my observations. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Thank you for your feedback. All right, so let's go to the second question. The second question is to explore opportunities for future collaboration with prospective partners in the Open RAN ecosystem. What role and advantage that could you play as an ecosystem partner? What are your successful references? What type of partners and partnership model could be considered? Okay, that's the second question. Let me invite David from Alpha. David, please give us on your thoughts.
Yes, sorry, that's mute. Thanks, Howard. I think from the the concept is same as David from FII mentioned. Also, I think Raymond also mentioned the cooperation is very, very important for the 5G network, and that how especially from the O-RAN, the O-RAN application worldwide. For example, like we partner. Raymond also mentioned we partner with the HTC and cooperate with the in several the field trial in Taiwan. That's quite successful. That's very helpful for the different party to do the IoT together, to integrate the more for the four system is will be more to get more experience the application and the trial in the field trial. So that's that every parties in the cooperation that's will get more experience for the product enhancement. And I think so. That's I think that should build more the field trial for the O-RAN based on not just from the government, also for the from the telco. I mean, from the carrier, the support from them. This will be more opportunity to that more the ODM company or the solution provider that we can work together and push the O-RAN to more successful. And based on the Alpha's successful the field trial, I think I can mention some that based we I think we get a lot of help from the Taiwan government MOEA help to build our solution, probably with like I just mentioned, like HTC that's in Kaohsiung City and in several the field trial, and also in Japan. We work with the very strong the system integrator in local in Japan local. So we have several successful field trial based on the end-to-end 5G solution. And also now we have cooperate. We have one the field trial case in Europe. That's yeah. That's what I can share. Thank you.
Okay, David, thank you for sharing. Next one, I would like to invite Eugene. Eugene, I'm very interested from your company's perspective, from the component providers or the chipset providers perspective. Can you give us some about your thoughts?
Absolutely, yeah. We see many opportunity for Coherent Logic to collaborate and partnership with Taiwan company, and the opportunity from many meetings with a company in Taiwan, also in USA, we have learned that the Taiwan industry is very interested in duplicate the huge success of a white box of for data center. And then we anticipated the later on they will have the white box for the O-RAN as well, but it will take some time, right? And then that's matched because that matched very well with Coherent Logic DNA. That we are based on the open source and 100% software defined, and also the open hardware, RISC-V, and same processor can be used for different applications. So that's one. And then the second, I think we've been engaging with operators in North America, Latin America, and some in Europe. And then they actually very badly need help to minimize their OPEX and CAPEX. Like I mentioned before, once they decide to deploy the small cell, also to help them to maximize all the revenue stream. That's related with the business model. So that's I have present some of the data for your consideration. And in fact, some company even looking at the O-RAN as a service. So that's very, very interesting. Just like the metaverse as a service. I saw the HTC discussion. So anyway, and then in fact, some of these operators, including 5G terrestrial and satellite operator and system integrator, they actually asking us to syndicate eco partner, including Taiwan product and the solution company, be able to supporting them to do the demonstration, POC, field trial, and even a commercial in the application as well. So those are excellent opportunity for us to work together. In terms of the partnership, I think if we consider 5G as a service-oriented cloud-native operation, then the Taiwan company is very good at the IaaS, right? Infrastructure as service, productization, manufacturing. So really, Coherent Logic coming in as a platform company, which complement with the Taiwan company very well. And then therefore, we are providing both the hardware and software and IPR, library, SDK, so on and so forth, to support your need there. And so, and then I have also just reported specifically many of these operators, including our existing customer that who already in the aerospace 5G terrestrial and satellite area, they are intend to use, they sponsor the 416 chip I mentioned, and they plan to use that to transform the company to address the open RAN as well as the traditional RAN and also satellite application as well. So we see lots of activity going on in the front, in the US, in Europe, and also Latin America. So I'd like to cordially invite, the company from Taiwan to contact with us and hopefully can join our 5G consortium, which will hope to end all the participation by year end. Then we're going to go ahead with the project. So I want to welcome and thank you for the event, and I really benefited greatly from this event. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Eugene. Next, I will go to Raymond. Raymond, can you share some thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'll make my answer short since the time is limited. I think from our point of view, when we want to work with the customers in US or Europe, for example, I think we need to leverage the system integrators locally. They can provide the services, they can build a relationship, they can do the operations for us. So I think our goal is always to see if we can build a partnership with the local SI. And then with two steps, once we can start to do the RAN core, kind of the 5G in a box to help the local SI to understand the private 5G more. And then they can leverage this POC product to help their customers to understand 5G more and then start to sell in more 5G project into their customers. But the second phase is actually our long-term business model. We're doing the vRAN license. I do think whenever the local SI, when they work with us, they will learn 5G quickly. They understand they can benefit from the open RAN architecture. So we're also open our partners in the second phase when they do the project with their customers. They can, choose the right hardware they preferred based on their relationship. But we are focused to license our vRAN model. So we're doing similar business model in Taiwan already, and then we're trying the same model in Germany. I think for the US, we want to duplicate the similar stages approach with the local SI to help them to learn more with the 5G and all the components, how open it is, and what the customer potential needs. And we're flexible for either business model with them as well. I think that's my view. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Raymond. Well, I think the Open RAN is an open environment. Everybody talk about it, the multi-vendors and preventing the vendor locking issues, stuff like this. But I think for the equipment itself, it could be the multi-vendor. You talk about the system integrators or service integrators, solution providers or service providers, then it could be a different story. So those two levels, suppliers, I will say, not necessarily multi-vendor. Okay, all right. So at least seems like the private network is a good start to practice the Open RAN practice. Right. I see a lot of telcos, they are also working on the public network to implement the O-RAN in a wide area to try to practice the Open RAN models. It involve a lot of issues that has to be considered as telcos. All right. Okay. I think our time is up. So thank you all the panelists. Thank you for your time and share your valuable information for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Howard, and thank you to all of our panelists today. And this also marks the end of our forum for today. So thank you once again for all of the audience online for sticking with us from start to finish, for joining us at this 5G Ecosystem Partnership Business Forum. As we said, you may also notice this is not the end of the conversation and just the beginning. So in case you require more information or require B2B connections to be made through the organizers, please feel free to reach out to Maggie, the Deputy Director of the office, or myself, Tiffany, for further assistance. And as a matter of fact, we will be reaching out to each of you online right now, speakers and audience alike, for individual meetings and whatnot to follow up on further requests. As a final note, this October, as you all heard, we will be leading a delegation to Washington, D.C. for a 5G Open RAN showcase. And some of the companies that you met today will also be there personally. So we would like to invite all of you in the States, if you have time, to come visit us. And we look forward to seeing you there for more discussion. Thank you all once again for your time, and we will see you next time.